Hello, we're back with lesson 14.2, trend lines and predictions. So how can you use a trend line to make a prediction from a scatter plot? So this is where our y equals mx plus b is going to come into play. So when a scatter plot shows a linear association, being a straight line, you can use a line to model the relationship between the variables. A trend line is a straight line that comes closest to the points on a scatter plot. So first thing you're going to do is take all of your points here and create a scatter plot. So I've already done that. So that's part A. Step B, to draw a trend line, use a straight edge, anything straight, a ruler, or anything to draw a line that has about the same number of points above or below it. Ignore any outliers. So if there was like a point way up here, just ignore it and don't even include it. So, and also whenever you draw the straight line, it doesn't always have to go through 0, 0, but this one actually will. So what you're going to do is grab your straight edge and you're going to draw just kind of a straight line. That's a little bit too high, but it's something that should have like the same amount of points above it and below it. So now it says use your trend line to predict how long it would take Joyce to run 4.5 miles. So all you're going to have to do is take a look at your 4.5 miles, go all the way up, and it should take her about, we'll say like 52 minutes. So yeah, it's pretty, as far as your point, as far as your line, it's just a prediction. So for her to, it looks like she's going about 10 miles per minute, or 10 miles for every, or no, 1 mile takes about 10 minutes. So 2 miles would be about 20 minutes. So you just have to follow that point. So how well does your trend line fit the data? It looks like they're all pretty close. If I would do this again, my line would probably look a little bit more like the blue one, which would be about roughly, 48 minutes. So somewhere around there. All right. So do you think you can use a scatter plot that shows no association to make a prediction? So if they have just dots everywhere, you can't really make a trend line that fits that. So I don't think you can use a scatter plot that shows no association to actually make a prediction. All right, so now what we have to do is find the equation of a trend line. So you can use 2 points on a trend line to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So we're going to write this in y equals mx plus b. So just by looking at this graph, the b, this one right here, is where it crosses the y-intercept. And that's going to be at 0. So we can just put a 0 in there right now. Now you could use 2 points like they're doing here. So we can do, they have 550 and 17,170. So you're going to find points that are on this line, or you could just do a basic rise over run. So if you look at the line, you have a point at 0, 0, and then it looks like this would be 20, this would be like 40 and 4. So it'd go up 40, to the right 4. So 40 divided by 4 is 10. So your slope is 10. So y equals 10x plus 0. Or by doing it the way that they did it with the points, they got the same answer. So then all we have to do is write y equals 10x plus 0. Or if you find your slope, you can have our y equals 10x plus b, and then plug in an xy. So like 50 is your y. So you can plug your 50 in there, and your x is 5. And then solve for b, or you can just say, hey, look, your b is 0. So you would have y equals 10x or y equals 10x plus 0. So all you're going to have to do is just find your slope and find your y-intercept of your trend line that you create. So if you take a look here, the scatter plot and trend line show the relationship between the number of rainy days in a month and the number of umbrellas sold each month. Write an equation for the trend line. The more rain you're going to get, the more umbrellas you're going to sell. So we're going to write a y equals something x plus something. So we can already tell that our y-intercept is 0. Now we just have to find a couple of points on this line, or even just one point, and do rise over run. So if you look, there's a point at 1, 1. Or if you want, you can go all the way up to up here. So that would be up 9. And then to the right, 10. So it'd be, your slope is 9 over 10. If you had a slope of 1, that'd be fine, because I can also see you have up 1 over 1. But that would be fine. So you're basically your equation is going to be y equals 9/10 x plus 0. Now, on this next part, this is the last part we're going to talk about, is just making predictions. If you have your equation, you can make predictions. So when you use a prediction, when you use a trend line or its equation to predict a value between data points, you already know you interpolate the predicted value. So that's, for the first one, it was talking about, what was it from? Example 1. So it was back in example 1 right here. So the data that we have is between 0 and 20 chapters. So if it's between 0 and 20, it's interpolation. So if it's between 0 and 20, it'd be interpolation on that data. And when it's outside the data set, it's extrapolate. So use the equation of the trend line in example 1 to predict how many pages would be in the book with 26 chapters. So 26 is outside of that 0 to 20 from example 1. So that would be extrapolation. Now it says write an equation for your trend line. Remember, that was y equals 10x. So that was the equation that we got from this one. So we have y equals 10x. So now all you have to do is just substitute the number of chapters for x. So we want to find out with 26, so y equals 10 times 26. Now simplify, y equals 260. So there should be 260 pages. So there should be, you can estimate there'd be about 260 pages in a 26 chapter book. Predict how many pages would be in a book with 14 chapters. If you use your y equals 10x, y equals 10 times 14. So there would be about 140 pages. Now, do you think that's extrapolation or interpolation? That is inter, because it is included in that original data set. So if you have any questions on this, please reach out to me through email and I can respond and answer your questions. Thanks. Have a great day.